So this is the BitGo CEO. Let's hear what he has to say.
And welcome back to Overtime. Bitcoin is falling today, but it's still a major winner this year, more than doubling in 2024. And crypto investors, they're very enthusiastic about 2025, expecting friendly policy from President-elect Trump. Joining us now is BitGo CEO Mike Belshe. BitGo is a cryptocurrency trading and storage platform. Hey, good to see you, Mike.
Hey, Frank, good to see you also.
All right, so Mike, we were just talking about it just now. Bitcoin, huge run up year to date, even bigger run up after the election. What's going to push this higher? What isn't already priced in?
Actually, I think the regulatory is somewhat priced in, but in general, we've seen that these news events don't always price in until they're actually here. So like we have a new administration coming in, things look very promising. People are very excited, they're very bullish, but it's not here yet. So actually, I think we're going to continue to see the effects of that all through 2025. Remember that for the last 2.5 years, we've had not just a regulatory environment that didn't want to help you, we had a regulatory environment that was actively trying to kill you. So all of a sudden, with that changing the opposite direction, we're going to continue to see good gains next year.
All right. What about David Sachs? He's going to be the quote unquote crypto czar. Do you think that's not priced into some of these upside moves we've seen in crypto?
I think it's indicative of what this administration is about. They want to see innovation happen. They want to see it happen here in America. They want to see America's strength. So, David Sachs helping both on the AI side as well as on the crypto side is phenomenal. He happens to be a big investor in BitGo. I've known David for 10 years, I think, at this point. So, look, he's a phenomenal mind. He's been seen all over the All In podcast for the last couple of years, and people see exactly how capable this man is. So I think he's going to be a great help to the administration, and he's going to help make sure that the policies that they're looking for come through.
Do you expect to see in 2025 more companies adding Bitcoin to their balance sheet? That obviously was a big theme of 2024. And I'm curious if you think that continues and whether there's any kind of reputational risk that goes along with that size of purchase of Bitcoin.
It's absolutely going to happen. We're talking with multiple clients right now about doing that. It's been a conversation for the last couple of years, but frankly, the regulatory changes make it a lot easier. Having ETFs available make it a lot easier. People don't remember exactly how much balance sheet cash some of the largest, top 7 companies have. I mean, it's hundreds of billions of dollars. So having some access to Bitcoin into that portfolio, into that treasury management, just makes sense. And remember, it's a hedge against whether the U.S. can curtail inflation. And while we're optimistic about what's going to happen with the new administration over the next few years, America has not had a track record at all of being able to curtail spending. So if we're going to continue to see monetary supply go up, Bitcoin is the perfect hedge against that.
Is there a concentration risk, though, if companies do start to adopt this en masse?
Some people talk about that from would ETFs become mass accumulators of Bitcoin? I don't see that as an immediate problem at all. And I think we're going to see a mixture because we do talk with corporates, but a mixture of some taking self-custody, others using different providers, and then using the ETF. So I don't think it's a foreseeable problem. It could become a problem in the long term, but we'll see how that goes.
I know is okay. Hold on here. Let's address this quickly. So Samantha has a seed phrase that won't import into MetaMask: walk, unfair, fever, veg, cash, glue, magnet, midnight, stage, trend, auto, smart. This is kind of like the scam of 2024. Every video I post has people like this in the comments. And so what they do there is they actually lure you into, it's all done with Ethereum. It has nothing to do with Bitcoin. But if you actually type these words into a MetaMask wallet or something, it triggers you to, I think, send more Ethereum to get the wallet if somebody's trying to outsmart these people. So it is a trap. So if you see anybody who's posting their seed phrase online in the comments or in stuff like this, do not do it. With Bitcoin wallet, it's just going to show up as zero balance. But if you do it on a MetaMask or an Ethereum wallet, they will drain whatever you have in there. They'll ask you to send Ethereum, I believe, something along those lines. So just if you see any comments like this in the comments, report them, please. I try my best to delete them as soon as I see them, but at the same time, this is a community thing here. So do what you can. If you see something like that, report it, please. Hey, look at this, Ian. That was you. 2,000 sats. My first zap for the show. Well, thank you, Ian. That very much appreciated. And it's pretty cool that it was your first zap. Okay, so back to this video here. I really think that there's a lot of people underestimating what's going to happen here and how important a new administration and a Bitcoin friendly administration is going to be on the Bitcoin ecosystem. Because he said himself, there's been companies looking into this for a few years now, but the regulatory environment wasn't right. So companies were thinking about doing this. You have to look at this from a company's perspective and how this whole thing looks to them. Most people are so focused on their industry, what they've been doing for years, their next quarter. They don't have time to be worrying about what Bitcoin's doing and how to implement that into their treasury. He said that there has been lots of companies looking into it. He's in talks with several companies right now about putting Bitcoin on the balance sheet. And in the last month alone, we've seen probably 24 companies add Bitcoin to the balance sheet. So this thing is moving forward very fast, much faster than I expected to. But you have to understand the implications of a Bitcoin-friendly administration versus an unfriendly one. Not only that, but with the new accounting changes, it made absolutely zero sense for a company to add Bitcoin to the balance sheet up until now, because they could not fairly value their Bitcoin. And I don't want to get into the ins and outs of the FASB rule and the new standards, but it is massive, the implications on corporations being able to hold Bitcoin now. So we're going to see in 2025, we're going to see a huge chain reaction of countries and companies buying Bitcoin. And the amount of Bitcoin that is available now and that will be available this time next year is incredibly low. And people like to even comparing it to gold, comparing it to real estate, comparing it to whatever. We can't compare Bitcoin to anything. And I mean, going back to whose comment was that before, comparing cats and dogs, it's probably true. And not because it was Alan. And it's not because I see gold as like an alternative that you should be looking into. I don't think that. I just think comparing Bitcoin to anything else is like comparing it to cats and dogs, because there's never been anything that resembles Bitcoin before, ever. So whatever predictions, whatever people have in their mind about what's going to happen with Bitcoin, it's impossible to know because we've never seen anything like this before. So, I mean, the point of that, between the gold video that we watched with Cynthia Lummis and this video about corporations buying Bitcoin and the new changes, the regulations, the FASB changes, the point is that for these next 3 weeks before Trump takes office, get as much Bitcoin as you possibly can. If that means selling your cryptos, if that means cashing out some investments, some RRSPs, some TFSAs, some HSAs, or whatever it is in the US, if that means selling your hockey card collection, if that means trading your gold and silver for Bitcoin, whatever that is, these next 3 weeks, get as much Bitcoin as you possibly can. Because I think that once Trump takes office and once he makes a few key decisions and maybe even an executive order, we will never, ever see Bitcoin at this price again, which is going to be good for us in a lot of ways, but it's also going to significantly reduce the future amount of Bitcoin that we get. And whether that's our time that we spend, we're going to get less Bitcoin for that. Whether that's the fiat that we have, we're going to get less Bitcoin for that. Or whether it's the altcoins and other investments that we trade, we're going to get less Bitcoin for that. So really take this time, because it is going to be a really crucial part of history. When we look back and knowing what we know today after November, the election, and knowing what's coming here in January, these 3 months people are going to look back and say, it was so obvious what was coming here, and I did hardly anything about it. So the good news is you still have a couple weeks, but after that, we're going to be in tough. We're going to be in tough.